Hi everyone. So I know a few of you have talked to me about like ideas for bathroom passes and just some other technical class routine issues that we're trying to hash out for hybrid. And I sat down last night and I created my digital bathroom slash drink slash office pass. And I wanted to share with you how I did that so that you could do it too. It seems like there's a lot to it, and depending on your level of comfortability with Google, it might be. However, it's more of planning out the different components than it necessarily is putting it all together. Okay. And so I don't want you to look at this and be like, oh, that's a lot. I did this in about 20 minutes or so. I threw this together. Now again, I am pretty comfortable with technology, so I was able to do this fairly quickly. It might take you a little bit longer to do it. You might get it done faster than I did. I don't really know. But it's not, even for those of you who are not that comfortable with these things yet, I don't want you to look at this and be like, oh, I can't do it. Because I really think you can. And I really think this will solve a lot of different issues that we have been talking about in terms of, how are we going to let kids go out to the bathroom? Are we going to need to have a million bathroom passes? Are we going to have to stop and write passes? Are we going to have to, wipe down whatever pass they use? This eliminates a lot of those problems. Okay. So I primarily used Google Slides, Google Forms, and then a QR code to create this system. And it was pretty easy to do. So first I want to show you the final product, because I think when you see the final product first and you keep that in your mind as I'm showing you how to make it, it'll remind you of what it looks like in the end, even though creating it might get a little bit messy. Okay. So my students will have this poster in their classroom, in my classroom. I'm going to probably laminate it and then I will hang it on my door. I'm probably also going to cut out a bunch of those QR codes and then put them on each desk that we're going to be using and secure them with clear like packing tape. And then that way they can scan the QR code. If you're not familiar with QR codes, they're just this little device that you hold your phone up to and it takes you to a web page. It saves the person that creates these posters the time of having to put the web page on there, because let's face it, if you are looking at a poster and I have like go to www.google.forms.com/ all these letters, you're going to be like, I'm not doing that. The QR code is really what makes any poster digital, even if no, that's what it does. It makes a poster digital. So on all of your devices. Now, I don't know where you would find it on an iPhone or like a Google phone, but I can tell you on Android, if you swipe down, you have a QR code scanner. It's in the same spot as where you have your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth and airplane mode and your power saving mode. It's within that category of functions. And you just click the button that says scan QR code, and it opens up your camera, but it makes your camera act as a scanner. And all you do is you want to sort of line up your camera to the QR code. And then on your phone, you see a little pop-up that tells you to go to a web page. You click that pop-up, and then whatever you want that person to see appears on their screen. In this instance, they're going to go to a Google form. So my students will scan the QR code, which will then take them to this sign-out form. Okay. And yes, I did create this. And yes, if you want to know how, I'll teach you. So they just go in and they type in their name. Okay. So they type in their name and they choose their period. And then I want to get a drink. So they choose what they want to do. And then they click submit. Now, instead of the generic, your response has been recorded, I have set this up to say that they need to open up this link for Digital Pass. So all they need to do on their phone is then click this link. and then it takes them to a new form. And I just ask one question: where are you going? So I'm going to click drink because that's what I want to go get. And now on my phone will pop up my drink pass. And I made sure to include my name and room number, so in case they are stopped in the hall and asked where they're going or asked what they're doing, they can show on their phone that they are getting a drink and they are from my room. Okay. And then what I did was I added in the description of the image, I just simply put a reminder that they need to submit the form when they come back from getting their drink. Not only does this close the form down for them, but it also gives me a timestamp of when they came back. This first form, when they hit submit, it gives a timestamp of when they left the room. This second form timestamps when they're returning. So now I've got both. And I think that's really great. So it solves a lot of problems, right? There's no paper sign out sheet. There's no paper passes. Everything's digital. So like I said, it solves a lot of issues at one time. And there is a way to collate the spreadsheets that you can get from the responses for your forms, which I can show you how to do in another video. If you want, just let me know. So let me start with how I put this together. Okay. So let me get out of here. I don't need the change. It's fine. Let me get out of this. And I want to show you where I started. I started by making the passes themselves. That way they're ready to go when I make the form. So you sort of have to kind of think backwards a little bit and start with the final product. So that way you have it to add into the form. So all I did was I went to Google Slides and I made a slide for each type of pass that I want. And I'll probably keep this slide and use it, next year. And if I think of other passes or other digital things I want, I'll probably just add it to this slide. And that's why I've named it master. So it's my master pass sort of area. Okay. And that's just an organization thing that I use when I do stuff like this, just for Google Drive. It helps me keep things organized. So once I created my passes, and you can make them look however you want, it's, that's up to you. The trick to getting this slide onto any of the forms is to download the slide. And if you didn't know that Google Slides has that feature, it does. You can download an entire slide deck, or you can download each individual slide. That's completely up to you. I am going to download each individual slide because I need them to be separated. So all you do is make sure that the slide that you want to be downloaded is selected. And then you want to go to File and then Download. And you've got a few different options. You can make it a PowerPoint. If you want to turn this into a PDF, you can do that. I like the PNG image. I think it's the easiest one. It works the best with all of Google. And it's a little less space than a JPEG. JPEGs are a little bit larger of an image, I think, than PNG. And so I just think that when it loads on a phone, it works better this way. Okay. So all I do is I clicked on PNG and now I've got it downloaded onto my computer. And all I need to do later then is drag it where I need it to go. So, then I created my poster. I actually created my poster last because I waited until I had the sign out form done so that I could go to the QR code generator and put that link into create the QR code. But I wanted to just touch on this quick. If you were wondering how I got this to change, you go to File and then Page Setup, which I can't see because let me move this. There you go. Okay, so you go to File, Page Setup, and then you want to change this. This will be defaulted at widescreen. It'll be defaulted here. I went to Custom, and then I just put in a standard paper size, 8.5 by 11. And when I hit Apply, it turned my slide into an 8.5 by 11. This will also work if you want to make worksheets in Google Slides. I think it's easier to make a worksheet in Google Slides than it is to make in Docs because you have more tools for editing at your disposal. So when I make a worksheet, I usually go to Slides and I just make it 8.5 by 11, or if I wanted it landscape, 11 by 8.5. And then I have this. And when I print this, it will print exactly as it looks on an 8.5 by 11 paper. And it won't have margins. It won't have, anything. It'll be just like this. So that is how I made the poster. Okay. So for my form, all I did was I started in Google Drive, which is, let me refresh it because it wasn't working earlier. And I went to new, and it's still loading. Sorry, I have a lot on my drive, so it's a little bit slow. If this happens to you, if you want to open something new and you're not getting any of the options, just wait a minute. See, now once it stopped loading, everything loads. So I just went to new form, I went to Google Forms, and then I clicked on blank form. I really wanted to make sure that I had everything time stamped, right? Because when we have kids sign out, the reason that we have them sign out is that we know who's out of the room and then what time they're out of the room. So I could have made all of the digital pass in one form, but then the student would lose the pass itself when they hit the submit button. And that's why I ended up doing it in two forms, because when I submit the first form, it gives me the timestamp for when they leave. When they submit the second form, when they return, it gives me their timestamp upon returning from wherever they're going. So that is why I did it that way. If that's not something that really concerns you, or maybe you'll jot down when they leave or something, you can certainly do what I'm going to do in two forms in one. It's not difficult. It's the same steps. Okay. So I just created a new form. I asked questions, what I wanted. I added a question, period. Okay, and then I added where I wanted them to go. And again, make sure that you make all of these required, otherwise they can skip over them and then you won't get what you need. Where I needed to make a change was up here in the settings. Okay, where I linked the forms together was in settings. So I'm going to just leave this how it is for now, because I need to now go and create the digital pass form so that I can link them together. So my suggestion would be to make your sign out form. Okay, get that ready, and then don't close it out. Just leave it there and open your drive again. You can also make a copy of the form. Doesn't really matter which way you go with this. Now this is going to be my digital form. Okay, so this is going to be my pass form. So I'm going to just name this one so that I don't forget which one is which. On my digital pass form, I only asked one question. And now the thing is that in order for you to separate the passes, you do need to ask a question, because everything that you add in links to that question. So you can't really skip this step, even though it sounds redundant, because this step is what leads to the passes. Okay. So all I did was I just put, where are you going? And then I gave them the options: bathroom, drink, office. Make this required and make it multiple choice. Now, instead of adding a question, I added a section, okay? Because one question is always going to go to the next one. You could certainly add all 3 passes and just have them there and, have the students be like, well, I'm going to the bathroom, I'm going to get a drink, or I'm going to the office. You can make like a universal pass if you wanted to do it that way. I wanted more of the specific passes because, we do look for patterns too with kids, right? If you have a kid who's constantly going out to the bathroom same time every day, you start to wonder what's going on. So for that sort of continuity, I wanted to do individual passes. So now I need to make my sections for each pass. So I'm going to go here to add a section. And now you see that it says section 1 of 2. And now I've got section 2 of 2. So I'm going to just put bathroom. And I'm going to add another section. It's up here. Drink. And then my last section, office. So now I've got my sections. How I get the student to get to each one requires me to come back up to my question. Where are you going? I'm going to click these 3 dots, and then I am going to click this right here. Go to section based on answer, and watch what happens to this question when I click this. It adds in a link to the sections. So for bathroom, I'm just going to click go to section 2. For drink, I'm going to have them go to section 3. And then for office, section 4. So now when the student answers bathroom and they hit next, it's going to take them right to that pass. Don't change this. For section 1, you have to keep this at continue to next section. Otherwise, it messes up the form. So don't change this, okay? For every other one, though, you want to come down here and you want to change after section 2 to submit form, after section 3 to submit form, and then office will just submit form because it's the last section. This way, the kids go to the bathroom and then they have to submit the form. They get a drink, they have to submit the form. They go to the office, they have to submit the form. Okay? So now that I have all of that, now I can just go in and I can add my content for each section. So this section is done. I don't need anything else in section 1. So I'm just going to come down here to section 2. I'm going to click on it. So that I want to make sure that that blue bar is there, because then that means that everything I add from here will automatically drop under section 2. So I just want to add image. And then I'm going to take that image that I downloaded earlier and I'm going to drag it here. That is why I said to start with your passes and download each of them. I would download each pass so that they're all here on the bottom of your screen and they're ready for you to drag and drop. Okay. So, and then all I did was where it says image title, I just put when you come back to class, please hit the submit button. And that's it. I did the same thing then I went to drink, I went to add image, I went to office, and I went to add image. Okay. So now I have my digital passes ready to go. All I have to do to get the link for this is go to send, click on my link. It's easier if you shorten it. And now I've copied it. Remember I told you to keep your first form open, and this is why. So now I'm going to come back to my first form. I'm going to go to settings, and then I'm going to go to presentation. And I'm going to tell the student in the my confirmation message. Now it's not going to say, your response has been recorded. It's going to say, click here to access digital pass. And I copied the form. So now if you go to preview, your answer, and you hit submit, now you get that link to the digital pass form. And I click bathroom. Oh, sorry, I don't mean that for my picture to keep popping up like that. And I click next, and then there's the pass. And there you go. QR code, super simple. So once you've done all of this, you want to link the QR code to the original form so you can close really out of everything else. You don't need all of the rest of it. You just go to any QR code generator. I believe I went to QR stuff. Yeah. Yep. Okay. This is a free QR code generator. There are tons of them out there. They're all very easy to use. They're all very similar to this. This is just the one that we talked about in my grad class. So this is just the one that I'm using. So the website URL is what you need. You need to come back to your original form, your sign out form. Grab that link. And again, it's easier if you just shorten it. So now that link is copied. I'm going to paste the link here. If you want to change the color, I made mine blue. You can do that here. You can change it to any color you want. And then I went to up here, download QR code. This pops up. You don't have to worry about this. You don't have to sign up for anything. If you noticed right here, it downloaded my QR code. I go back to my poster. And if you drag that image, it'll put your QR code on your poster. Well, it should. It's not like... There it goes. And then, so there's that QR code that I just created. It's the same one as this. And that's it. You just resize it, and that's it. That's all you do. And that is how you create a digital bathroom pass. If you have any other questions on how to do this or something doesn't make any sense, please let me know. I'm happy to help. And I hope that you get some good use out of this. Thanks, guys. Bye.